Hi folks, so we have the new moon in Leo in an hour's time. It's 7:11 p.m. right now, Pacific time on July the 31st, and at 8:11 p.m. we have the new moon in Leo, of which much has been made in recent weeks. There are 5 things I want to share about this new moon and the energies that we are getting into. First and foremost, the days leading up to the new moon, this time incredibly complicated by the fact that Mercury goes direct a little after the new moon, within the hour. So, for all intents and purposes, Mercury is stationary, but it is still technically retrograde before it actually becomes stationary within an hour of the new moon. And that means that at least the past 2 or 3 days, and especially as we head to the new moon, I can certainly tell you that today, July the 31st, has really been a bit of a shit show. Nothing goes according to plan. Things come up from left field. You think you're going to go this way and you go that way. It's not a question of whether things are busy. In some ways, at least for me, today has been incredibly busy, but it's more a question of whether things go according to plan or whether you're having to adjust to schedule interruptions, and your plans are no longer your plans, and you no longer have control over your day. So everything that you planned or you expected, or all transactions and communications or interactions that you expected to go a certain way, just kind of go all over the place. And the mind has to struggle to keep on top of all these interruptions and bizarrenesses and technology snafus and communication upsets and be careful as you decide to text or email or leave people voicemails or call them over the past couple of days and into August the 3rd and even August the 5th. Just hit the pause button and think about what you're about to do. It's that thinking capacity, and it's the Mercury retrograde. My days are really not my own stuff that we have been dealing with as we head to this new moon. And I have to warn you, we will continue to deal with for the next 2 or 3 days at least. At least when I am talking to clients currently, I am advising that if you can, hold your fire till about August the 3rd at least. If you can, till about August the 5th, by all means do so. Hold your fire meaning don't be so quick to make decisions, don't be so quick to put pen to paper, at least till about August 2nd, August the 3rd. August the 1st, for all intents and purposes, Mercury is still kind of stationary. It's by August 2nd, August the 3rd, August the 4th, August the 5th that it starts to move forward. And if you can just watch from the sidelines to some extent, you will have to take action. But if you can still retain an open mind and be more focused on looking over details and looking over things 2 or 3 times, or looking at your decisions and decision-making closely, I think that will still be beneficial. You still kind of need to fasten your seatbelts at least over the next 48 hours, if not 72 hours, with things like schedule interruptions and messy communications and feeling like your days are not your own. You wake up and you have a to-do list and you think this is what's going to get done, and that's not really the way the day goes at all. Okay, that's item number 1. That was 1A. 1B is the fact that it's been the time before new moon. Really, if things have felt flat and your energy has been depleted and getting things done has been a challenge or all over the place, that will change in about an hour's time. Truly, I don't know what it is about new moons. Once a new moon happens, there's just an influx of energy, and we get to move forward, which brings me to item number 2 as a reminder. Remember, this is a new moon. Energies will start after the new moon. Things may be brought to you within 48 to 72 hours of a new moon, linked and related to where the sign of Leo is in your chart. People who have versions of the chart that I have given to you that demarcate which signs are in which houses, take a look at where Leo falls and what that house stands for to get a sense of what may be brewing. Indeed has been brewing for some time. Mars entered Leo in the beginning of July, and in previous videos I mentioned that the summer was going to have this kind of dual energy. The bulk of the energy was going to focus on the eclipses, especially in July, which we are about to leave, but we would still also have activities and energies in Leo active and asking for our attention. And this has only increased over time. The Sun came into Leo on around the 21st or 22nd of July, and Venus came into Leo on around the 27th of July. So the stage has gradually been set for this particular new moon. Mercury will come back into Leo on August the 11th. So I'm actually now onto item 3 of what I wanted to talk about, but that's just as well. So going back to item 2, it's a new moon, new things brought to you 24 to 72 hours within the new moon, maybe even a week, maybe the energies are here to stay for 28 days, wherever the sign of Leo is in your chart. And remember, with the new moon, energies are going to increase, full moon around the 14th, 15th of this month, and then start to decrease as we head towards the next new moon, which will be in the sign of Virgo around the 30th of August. Okay. Moving on to number 3, which had to do with the sign of Leo. Remember, the stage has been set in the sign of Leo with Mars coming in here beginning of July, July 21st, the Sun moving in here, July 27th, Venus moving in here, bringing in opportunities. So if Mars has brought a need to put a certain amount of attention and drive and focus and action and activity and assertion into where the sign of Leo has been, it wasn't really helped by all the eclipse activity in Cancer and Capricorn. We were really distracted in July. The Sun coming in here means that subconsciously we have started to understand why it is important to pay attention to where the sign of Leo is in our chart. Venus's entry has brought probably the most concrete example of opportunities in relationships, financial opportunities to some extent, creative opportunities perhaps. It just created an influx of that. Leo is a creative sign, Venus is a creative planet. And now the new moon occurs. Now let me continue with this idea of the new moon. Item number 5 is the most important, and I'm going to get to it. But let me continue with this idea of the new moon. A lot of pressure is being placed on this new moon as if it's going to somehow free us from the eclipses and free us from Mercury retrograde, and we're going to gallop forward tomorrow. Mercury is still retrograde, practically stationary at the time of this new moon, and that is what is imprinted on this next 28-day cycle. I have described in the last video that this next 28-day cycle, or at least the early part of it, may still feel like we are on a Ferris wheel that is about to move forward, but we're still suspended. That moment when you're on a roller coaster or a ride where you're all buckled in, and it's that one moment of like, before you get going. And that could very well be the energy over the next week at least. Now, Mercury will start to move forward. It will move out of Cancer into Leo on the 11th. And starting the 14th or 15th of August, the planets are going to start moving into Virgo. I have maintained all along that what we have been waiting for over the summer is the middle of August. That means we should continue to remain in action, pay attention to what is being brought in us, and engage with the world and the universe as best we can over the next 15 days. Because by the time momentum picks up and we're ready to move, at least we've brought the horses and the dogs and whatever it is that you're racing, the cars, the chariots, the go-karts, the bullocks, to the gate, so that once the gates really open and the momentum picks up, you won't have to wait 28 days for the momentum to pick up. It will start to pick up, but it's not. This new moon is not going to bring some sort of magic wand that's going to all of a sudden take away Mercury retrograde energies. Indeed, over the next 24, 48, 72 hours, Mercury retrograde, or rather Mercury going slowly direct energies, may still mean like, we thought we were going to be doing this. I think I'm going to be doing this in the next hour. It doesn't even have to be tomorrow morning. And all of a sudden, it's like I have to keep adjusting my schedule for new things and accommodating them as they come up. And anything to do with technology or writing something or sending a communication is just fraught with confusion, misunderstanding, poor decision making, etc., etc. So just wait for the energies to continue to clear, and don't think that you are out of the shadow of the eclipses. We are never out of the shadow of the eclipses. I'll come to that in step number 5. Item number 4 that I want to mention is that Venus is moving closer and closer to the Sun. I'm going to develop this more in some future videos, and as we head to the full moon, by the time we get to the full moon on August the 15th, Venus and the Sun will have come together from where we sit, will be at the same degree by August the 14th. And what this is heralding in the first couple of weeks of August, first 3 weeks of August even, is a purification, a burning off of fat related to financial, money and relationships, and how money and relationships work together. Even creative processes or creative activities, luxuries, beauty, Venusian things, relationships that go beyond just sexuality and desire, and finances, it's a time of a rebirth, and this, excuse me, I feel like I have things on my face. And this rebirth process is very much underway and will reach some sort of a culmination by the middle of August. So just watch for this. I'm going to develop this theme more as the week progresses. Finally, item number 5. All right, folks, it's a new moon in Leo. Okay, and by now we have 3 planets in Leo, and we're going to have a new moon. And on August 11th, from August 11th, between August 11th and the full moon, between August 11th and the full moon in Aquarius, we're going to have 4 planets at that point in time in Leo. So the activity is only going to increase, and yes, there's a lot of focus on where Leo is in your chart. And remember, where Leo is in your chart is where eclipse activity from December the 9th, 2016 to about the end of January of this year happened. So there may be a revisiting of things related to that time frame. Still not necessarily moving forward. I don't think that'll happen till next year, but kind of just developments, kind of something a little bit more pregnant, something a little bit more like, okay, just before we move forward could be the theme. That said, the solar eclipse that happened on July the 2nd happened in the sign of Cancer. And it is the drumbeat and the main theme that will be playing out between July the 2nd of this year and December the 10th of next year. I've already said this in previous videos. Other important dates, September the 2nd, and then November the 10th, 11th, really important date, and then January the 10th. Pay attention to where the sign of Cancer is in your chart. And one of the things I have talked about in the last couple of videos, particularly the video where I introduced the Mercury cycle, and this, if you were to say, Abhi, how shall I use this time? I would say we're still on this seesaw of energies between where the sign of Cancer is and where the sign of Leo is in your chart. Cancer was winning out in July. It was Cancer season. So many planets were in Cancer. We still have Mercury going direct today in Cancer till August the 11th. So Cancer still has a certain amount of power, but Leo is getting stronger, as a result of which we're going to be pulled more in the Leo direction on a day-to-day basis. But do not lose the opportunity. Since July the 21st, I have asked you to take a look at where the sign of Cancer is in the chart, what it is that you feel the July 2nd eclipse, solar eclipse, is asking you to do, and make a project plan or a to-do list or an action item list of things you want to achieve in this area by November the 10th or 11th of this year, over a roughly 40-day time span. Now, between today and September the 3rd, it will be time to take action. And as you take action, you will get feedback from the universe, or whoever you're taking action for or against, that will give you further clarity of what needs to continue to be done and revised. The most yang part of the energy related to this Mercury cycle is just going to get started. Mercury is going to go direct. And on September the 3rd, the sun is in Leo. On August the 21st, 22nd, it'll move into Virgo. Mercury is in Cancer, so Mercury is going to be moving, catching up speed, and on September the 3rd, in the sign of Virgo, Mercury and the sun will meet. And between today and September the 3rd is time to implement this action plan related to the solar eclipse that has occurred in Cancer. And where does that it has occurred in Cancer? Pay attention to what Cancer, the sign of Cancer, is in your chart, what house it covers, what the subject matter is, and whatever it is that you're taking action into may have a sense of trepidation and excitement and risk and something new. It's as if you're being asked to build a muscle or muscles that you have not used, but you know you need to use and exercise. So if you have been somehow inexperienced or passive in a certain part of your life, the universe may now be saying, where's the sign of Cancer? That is where your hero's journey is. It is time to pick up the sword and walk out of your home or security blanket or nest and fight the dragons that you need to fight, no matter how terrifying that process may be, or clear the path, or take on that project or those steps that you feel you absolutely have to, but have an element of newness to them, an element of growth, an element of excitement. You may find that as you move forward in this part of your life, words like flow and magic and serendipity and synchronicity may not end up being too far behind. You decide that there's some aspect of your life that you want to heal. That's one way to look at it. Gain further security around. I'm using Cancerian words. Nurture yourself around. And you may find that these are things that you really realize that you need to tackle. And as you take just one step, someone recommends a book, or you meet someone who can help with that, or someone says, I know someone who can help heal with this, or you should talk to so-and-so. It's not going to take much. It is going to take you taking action so that the universe can meet you. This is where your hero's journey is. Let me recap the 5 points that I've made so far. We've hit the 15-minute mark. Heading into the new moon today, yesterday, day before yesterday, not that much fun. Sorry, I'm over a parking lot as I'm doing this in this apartment complex, so you might hear a car start up. Just because Mercury's in the process of going direct, and the days before a new moon are always kind of not our best in terms of us having energy and motivation and mojo to get things going. There's a certain amount of fatigue. The body wants to rest, but life and the universe may have other plans, and so negotiating that can be hard. Oh, there's a cat over there. How sweet. Scratching itself. I think it has fleas. Okay, sorry. I got distracted for a second. The new moon, of course, starts a cycle, a 28-day cycle that is going to, certainly where the sign of Leo is in your chart, this is what it's about. A subconscious review, action being taken, opportunities related to Leo being brought to you over the next 4 weeks, but especially over the next 24, 48, 72 hours, maybe the next week or two. Mars has come in here, Sun came in here, Venus came in here recently. Opportunities are already making their way to you, and 8/11 today is when the portal opens and you get to move forward with this new moon and put Leo season. That's when it officially gets underway in any way that requires action and energy. It may be that Leo season is underway, but don't believe the hype. This new moon isn't going to magically erase Mercury retrograde or eclipses or eclipse season or the messiness of July. It's not. There will be progress and there will be forward momentum and the energy will clear, but not till the middle of August. Certainly do not expect the time till August the 3rd or August the 5th to not be affected by Mercury slowly going direct. And we are always under the shadow of the eclipses, because an eclipse is simply a new moon or a full moon that happens in line with where the sun, moon, and the earth are. I'm trying to think about how to explain the word ecliptic, and that's what it is. But the north node and the south node, the eclipse points are always transiting and continuing to ask us to release something and lean in a certain direction. So we're always under the shadow of the eclipses. A new moon in Leo is not going to somehow eradicate or pull us completely out of or bring us out of the new moon in Cancer. Nor is it going to end Mercury retrograde, because Mercury is going direct on the day of the new moon. In fact, the fact that Mercury is going direct on the day of the new moon means that Mercury's energy is still pretty stagnant. So we may have this feeling of still being stationary, waiting for things to move. They will start to move by the end of the first week of August and into August, the middle of August. Finally, the biggest thing to focus on, interestingly, even though energies are going to be pulled into Leo direction, has to do with the sign of Cancer and the solar eclipse in Cancer on July the 2nd. If you have been heeding my advice, which I hope you have, you should have, and if you haven't, do it. Just don't worry about whether you were supposed to do something by today. Just do it. Make a list of action items that you wanted to complete, or things you want to have in place that might give you a greater sense of security or sense of nurture, things that might heal you, things that you feel like you need to do so that you can be easier mentally. Just things you want to do, achieve, get done by November 11th or so, related to where the sign of Cancer is in your chart. Make that list of items and start executing on it between today and September the 3rd. If you find that you can't start executing on things till about August 3rd, August the 5th, fine, that's actually a good thing. You may still just be in a slightly more pregnant space over the next few days and may have a hard time really pushing and being in action. You can prepare, you can look over things. If you know that some of this is about sending an email or a piece of mail or picking up the phone and talking to someone, you can prepare what you want to say, you can go over that, you can sit on it for 2 or 3 days or 5 days, but certainly by the time you're getting past August the 5th, be in action. It is going to be through considered action, and this is a time of consideration, the next week or so especially, that you'll realize what meets with opposition, what doesn't. Where are your plans fully baked? Where are your actions well considered, where the things that need to be tied up, etc., etc., etc. Continue to look at what it is that you've chosen to take on. This is coming to me pretty strongly with the fact that Mercury is slowly going direct. In some ways, the next 3 to 5 days may still be a good time to look behind you or look at what you're planning to do and vet it in your mind as your mind becomes clearer. Maybe the time to really start taking action will be after August the 3rd, August the 5th. So look at all these things that you feel like you want to get done, or your to-do list, or there are 10 things you want to do, or 5 things you want to do, or 4, and really look at them. If there's an email you want to send, draft it, sit on it, come back to it. If you might find that in drafting the email, oh, there's a couple of bits of information I need to get. Go get that information. Try and check your to-do list and your plan and your deliverables for thoroughness before you start executing, but then till September the 3rd, be in execution on these items and see how they go. If you found this video helpful, blah, 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 liked it, whatever it is, go ahead and like it, share it, subscribe to my YouTube channel, click the bell icon to be notified of new videos. I will be doing a video on Venus getting close to the Sun over the next couple of weeks. So also know from a summary perspective that relationships and money are going to go through some sort of a rebirth or a cleansing process. The old is going to start to give way to the new as you head to the middle of August. It's kind of exciting. Might be a little stressful. Let's see how it goes. Like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment if you feel so inclined. My email address is going to be in the description area on YouTube. Reach out to me if you would like a reading, or if you would like to know where the eclipses are falling. Right now I'm offering a 30-minute session. I rarely do 30-minute sessions or advise them as to where it is that the eclipses are falling. I'd be happy to do that. You can inquire about rates. Anyway, my email address is there in the subject area, and let's leave it at that. Happy new moon. It's coming up soon, you guys. It is my favorite time, the 24, 48 hours after a new moon. I really enjoy the energy that a new moon brings and the fresh air, the inspiration, almost in literal terms. Breathing in some fresh air and the rejuvenation that a new moon brings. I do think that the new moon is still happening at a pretty cloudy time, with Mercury being practically stationary and going direct. So just know that communication and transactions-wise, things are not going to be quite so fast-moving. There's still murkiness in the air. Okay, I will leave it at that, and I will be back in touch soon. Bye.